यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवर धारी यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपः कुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. This morning we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled The Creation of Fourth Order. Take Chapter 18, entitled Prithu Maharaj Milks the Earth Planet. Text 6. Pura Shrishta Hi Aushadhaya Brahmana Ya Vishampate Bhujyamana Maya Drishta Asadbhir Adhritavrata Pura Shrishta Hi Aushadhayo Pura Shrishta Hi Aushadhayo Brahmanaya Vishampate Brahmanaya Vishampate Bhujyamana Maya Drishta Bhujyamana Maya Drishta Asadbhiradhritavrataye Asadbhiradhritavrataye Pura Shrishta Hi Aushadhayo Brahmanaya Vishampate Bhujyamana Maya Drishta Asadbhiradhritavrataye Pura Shrishta Hi Aushadhayo Brahmanaya Vishampate Bhujyamana Maya Drishta asadbhiradhritavrataye. Please recite. Pura shrishta hi aushadhayo pate bhujamana maya drishta asadbhiradhritavrataye. Pura shrishta hi aushadhayo brahmanaya vichampate bhujamana maya drishta asadbhiradhritavrataye. Any one devotee more? Pura shrishta hi aushadhayo brahmanaya vichampate bhujamana maya drishta asadbhiradhritavrataye. Anybody from Vaishnavis? We'll see what to meaning. Pura, in the past. Shrishta, created. He, certainly. Aushadhaya, herbs and food grains. Brahmana, by Lord Brahma. Ya, all those which. Vishampate, O king. Bhujamana, being enjoyed. Maya, by me. Drishta, seen. Asadbhir, by non-devotees. Adhrita vratai, devoid of all spiritual activities. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Bhagwan ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Chandra Bhagwan ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. We'll see translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. My dear king, the seeds, roots, herbs, and grains which were created by Lord Brahma in the past are now being used by non devotees who are devoid of spiritual understanding. Please recite the translation in response. My dear king, the seeds, roots, herbs, and grains which were created by Lord Brahma in the past are now being used by non devotees who are devoid of spiritual understanding. Purport. Lord Brahma created this material world for the use of living entities, but it was created according to the plan that all living entities who might come in, into into dominate for sense gratification would be given directions by the Lord Brahma in the Vedas in order that they might ultimately leave it and return home back to Godhead. All necessities grown on the earth, namely fruits, flowers, trees, grains, animals, and animal byproducts, which created were created for the use in sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. However, the planet Earth, in the shape of the cow, herein submits that all these utilities are being used by non devotees who have no plans for spiritual understanding. Although there are immense potencies within the earth for the production of grains, fruits, and flowers, this production is checked by the earth itself when it is misused by non devotees. We have who have no spiritual goals. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everything can be used for His satisfaction. Things should not be used for sense gratification of the living entities. This is the whole plan of material nature according to the directions of this material nature. In this verse, the word asadbhir and adhrita vratair are important. The word asadbhir refers to non-devotees. The non-devotees have described in the Bhagavad Gita as dushkrutinaha, mudha, asses or rascals, naradhama, lowest of mankind, and maya aprutah jnana, those who have lost their knowledge to the power of the illusory energy. All these persons are asat, non-devotees. Non-devotees are also called grihavrata, whereas the devotees are called dhritavrata. The whole Vedic plan is that the misguided conditioned souls who have come to lord it over material nature should be trained to become dhritavrata. This means that they should take a vow to satisfy their senses or enjoy material life only by the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Activities intended to satisfy the senses of Supreme Lord Krishna are called Krishnarthe Akila Chetasa. This indicates that one can attempt all kind of work, but one should not. One should do it to satisfy Krishna. This is described in Bhagavad Gita as Yagyarthat Karma. The word Yagya indicates Lord Vishnu. We should work only for his satisfaction. In the modern times, Kali Yuga, however, people have forgotten Vishnu altogether and they conduct their activities for sense gratification. Such people will gradually become poverty stricken, for they cannot use the things which are to be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord for their own sense gratification. If they continue like this, there will be ultimately be a state of poverty, and no grains, fruits, or flowers will be produced. Indeed, it is stated in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that at the end of the Kali Yuga, people will be so polluted that there will be no longer be any grains, wheat, sugar cane, or milk. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. First of all, I seek blessings of all the assembled devotees, in particular His Grace Anandmaya Prabhu, so that I can speak something worthwhile on this topic, Srimad Bhagavatam, where they are describing about how Prithu Maharaj uh, summoned Mother Earth and very angrily was almost ready to give a death punishment to Mother Earth for her mistake of not providing sufficient food grains for the living entities. So, as in the past we have discussed that this uh, planetary system, in particularly Earth planetary system, has been created so that the living entities can reside here. There are suitable arrangements made by Supreme Lord that the living entities live happily in this material world. All that is needed for all living entities, not just human beings, but the animals, the aquatics, and every type of living entity that Supreme Lord has created. 84 lakh species. So when the species are created by the Supreme Lord, along with the creating the particular species, the Supreme Lord also creates what kind of foods he should subsist upon. Hmm? Like for example, the Lord has created carnivorous animals like tiger, lions. So when they are created, along with that, the creation also takes care that what kind of food he will be eating. Hmm? So in the Shastras, it is mentioned that jivo jivasya jivanam. One kind of living entity becomes food for another kind of living entities. So all that whole system has been created so that ultimately any living entity who takes birth in this material world, mm, ultimately in the end goal of their life, they should go back to Godhead. They should be interested in spiritual life. However, this was not happening. And Mother Earth was very, very unhappy that whatever I have created has been misutilized by non devotees. So, this misutilization of resources is generally done by non devotees in an unhealthy way. Whatever has been created, if you just follow the plan of the Lord, like Prabhupada also mentions in the purport, Yagya Shishta Sina Santo. If you perform yagyas, if you rightfully do sense gratification, if I can use that word, if you rightfully do sense gratification, then there is no sin involved in that. But if you unrighteously do sense gratification, or rather think that sense gratification is goal of life, like sometimes we see that in the Vedic times also, the kings had very elaborate sense gratificatory, what do you say, arrangements. But no king generally used to think that the goal of life is sense gratification. They used to think that sense gratification is there, okay, no worries. But they never used to live the life with this consciousness that the goal of life is sense gratification. Whereas now we see in the modern times, Prabhupada write modern times since Kali Yuga, the whole population is having this consciousness, and this consciousness is trained by the education system sometimes that your goal of life is sense gratification. You will become more successful in life if you have more sense gratification. So, with that idea, if somebody lives, they are called asadhvir. They are non devotees. Non devotees, why? Because they do not accept the plan of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, also, Krishna tells that in the beginning of this creation, I have created demigods, I have created human beings, and I have given a system by which demigods will please the human beings and human beings will please the demigods. And if you perform this system, then there is no problem. The demigods being happy by the performance of the sacrifices of the living entities in the earth, they give rain, they give what is a resources in the earthly planetary system. And how the demigods give resources to the human beings is very, very mysterious. Like even to understand how the rain is being evaporated and how the clouds are formed. And clouds rain only when there is a natural arrangement, generally. Even if we try to artificially induce rain, it may be successful for a very short span of time, but ultimately it won't be successful. And Lord has created very, very mysteriously this whole creation so that the living entities, whatever they desire, are being provided. So rains, you see the clouds floating in the sky. How something can float in the sky without being supported with a huge gallons of water, it is still mysterious. Like sometimes one cloud has huge quantities of water, and how it is floating in the sky and it will rain only when there is natural arrangement is still mysterious. Sometimes when we see if the same cloud, while providing the rainfall and giving life to the living entities, if it suddenly gets an outburst in some Himalayan places, what great havoc it can create. So these all are very, very natural arrangements. Like when we go inside the deep waters of ocean, how the pearls and other items are being created inside the water, we just don't know. Hmm. The only reason what we can find is that the huge pressure of water just creates pearls. Hmm. How that is possible, we don't know. Hmm. So all that is needed for human living entities to live, hmm, the minerals, whether that be gold, iron, various things which Lord creates through its mysterious potency. Hmm. No human energy can create even tiny fraction of what God has created. Hmm. No governments can say that, okay, this time the rainfall was less, maybe we'll do something to increase rainfall. Uh, that they cannot artificially do. They have to do in a natural way only. Hmm. So Lord's creation has been very, very perfect. Hmm. And sometimes there is a misnomer. There is, population is increasing, because of which the food grains are falling short. This is the biggest, what do you say, cheating propensity of living entities. Hmm. So Mother Earth can provide how much ever the population is there. Just like a mother can provide, when the child is born and the child is feeding on the mother's breast, the mother will never feel that, the child is overtaking. I am not able to sustain my child. It does not happen generally. So similarly, when we consider Earth as our mother, and we are all children of Mother Earth, Mother Earth can provide for all the living entities. There is absolutely no problem. Hmm. But here, Mother Earth is expressing what is her grief. Hmm. What is her grief? Her grief is that the resources which I am giving, hmm, instead of using it wisely, or instead of being used by right persons, I have been misused. Hmm. Non-devotees. So clearly, Mother is telling Asadbhir Adhrita Vrata. Hmm. They are not sadhus, and they are no Dhrita Vrata. They have no spiritual inclination. Hmm. So, in one sense, Mother Earth was right, because Mother Earth thought that purpose of living entities who are taking birth is supposed to be spiritual goal. Hmm. Anybody, if somebody takes human form of life, and does not worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. In the words of our Acharyas, what are they doing? Hmm? Atmaka, Janiya Sunya Visha. Like, for example, when we order something and we get some food, we check whether the food is good, the ingredients are good. Janiya Shunya, then Khaiva. But whereas if you get a human form of life, if you do not worship Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's like knowing that this is poison and happily eating that poison so that you can die. Hmm? So Mother Earth is thinking they are anyways committing spiritual suicide. Somebody who has taken birth and not worshipping, not being sadhu rata, they are anyways committing suicide. So why I should give them food? Let them die out of hunger only. Hmm? So when Mother Nature becomes angry at us, the face of Mother Earth is very, very dangerous. Hmm? When Mother Earth is very loving for us, the same face of Mother Earth is very, very pleasing. Hmm? Imagine all the living entities, when there is enough production of grain and fruits, all the fruits which we go and buy out in the market, they are very, very less priced. And everyone becomes very happy to get very, very seasonal fruits for very less price. Hmm? We think that there is something good, but the actual reason is Mother Earth is giving out of love more production so that you can eat nicely. Even the poor people can be afford their regular necessities. Of course, to be very strictly saying, even buying food is a modern concept. In the Vedic times, food was never bought. The kings and the temples used to distribute so much food that nobody used to go hunger. And apart from kings and the temples distributing food, every grahastha used to, even before eating the food, he used to go out and see across the street if there is any hungry person in the lane. Hmm? So imagine that much is loving face of Mother Earth. But the same Mother Earth, when she becomes angry and she becomes, what do you say, uh, upset with the living entities, if she creates a little bit earthquake, we see what kind of great havoc Mother Earth can create. Hmm? If she stops producing fruit grains, what kind of havoc the Mother Earth can create. Hmm? So, in that sense, Mother Earth was very, very true. that these people at the time of Vena, these people who are anucharas of Vena, they stopped doing yagyas, they stopped being devotees, they were feeling like Vena only. Vena was telling that everything is for my sense gratification. The citizens also started thinking everything is for my sense gratification. Hmm. So Mother Earth, in one sense, was very right at that time for not producing sufficient food grains. However, uh, from another point of view, Mother Earth is presenting her views here. She said that Brahma has created in the past all these things. And the plan of Brahma was that living entities will be born, they will read the Shastras, they will understand the goal of life, and then they will use these ingredients which are given by me to achieve that goal. Hmm. So, however, now Mother Earth is under the subjugation of Brahma. She has not taken, I mean, at least in the Bhagavatam, it is not described that before she stops giving supply to the living entities, she has not approached Brahma. She has kind of taken a self decision that, okay, living entities are sinful, let me stop supplying. Hmm. So, although the action was right, maybe it was not taken in the right consideration with Brahma's, what do you say, ordinance. If Brahma says, Mother Earth, that okay, living entities are gone case, you just stop the supply, Mother Earth would not have faced the angry face of Prithu Maharaj. Hmm. Whereas Prithu Maharaj, we will see before he takes up the step of punishing Mother Earth, Prithu Maharaj had deliberated very nicely what might have gone wrong. And Mother Earth here submits very, very nicely that, although this was a plan, the others did not fit in the plan. They did not give into the plan. So I also did not give it to the plan. Prithu Maharaj asked, why are you not giving the necessities for human beings? The human beings are suffering for want of necessities. Uh, So imagine now also Mother Earth can will easily say that all are adhrita vratas asadhubi. Hmm? How much of the population of this world are having that the goal of my life is something spiritual? Not even 1%. Hmm? So if Mother Earth again feels that this kind of situation is existing, the only reason why Mother Earth is still giving some food grains is that there is some possibility that people who will take birth may join the Sankirtan movement. Right? Because Sankirtan movement now is being far wide and spread, even though most population is unworthy of the resources of Mother Earth. Still Mother Earth is producing because there are few worthy people who have at least the goal of life as Krishna consciousness. So in that sense, Mother Earth is now very, very considerate. What can happen in the future? Prabhupada is predicting in the Kali Yuga, as the Kali Yuga progresses, and when Mother Earth slowly, slowly withdraws her supplies, no grains, no wheat, no sugarcane, no milk, all these things by which living entities are providing the food with. When this all will go, in the future verses, Prabhupada writes, they will eat only flesh. And when the animal flesh is insufficient, they might end up eating human flesh. Now, the governments have given sanction that the animal flesh can be eaten. But human flesh cannot be eaten in the current, at least in the good government system, at least the human flesh is not being endorsed to be eaten. Sometimes Kali Yuga people are so, what do you say, heinous and sinful that they give logic. The flesh has good protein. The flesh has some nice vitamins so that we should eat. So tomorrow they will discover that the human flesh also has nice protein. So human flesh also can be eaten. If such kind of mentality, if the kingdoms are ruled, then everything will be doomed. Imagine if government sanctions that human flesh can be eaten. No, will human beings will be, will they be living happily? Yeah? You just don't know when you can be caught and cut and say that human flesh is sanctioned by the government and we are eating you. This is very precarious situation in Kali Yuga. Not understanding the seriousness of human life, people are just living like animals. People are just living like animals, not knowing The goal of life is spiritual life. So if you live like animals, the treatment to be given to you also will be like animals. Hmm. People think that I should be treated like a very well, what do you say, organized or civilized man, Aryas. Hmm. But the activities are of Anaryas. How you will be treated? So Mother Earth will repeatedly, what do you say, harass this kind of non-devotees by insufficient food grains, by insufficient minerals. So what is the hope of such people? Hmm? Prabhupada writes these kind of four kind of peoples from Bhagavad Gita: Mudha, Naradhama. Hmm? Naradhama specifically refers to those people who are addicted to sinful activities. Hmm? Addicted to sinful activity means you do a sinful activity and you repeat the sinful activity again and again. These are called Naradhamas, lowest of mankind. Hmm? So all these kind of people, when the population increases, Mother Earth has no other alternative. Hmm. Very painstakingly, Mother Earth is giving supply now. But if the Mother Earth is being again and again tortured by what is a sinful activities, she will be forced to give the living entities their quota of reaction. Hmm. So only a very, very righteous king like Prithu Maharaj can reverse this action. Only a very righteous king can reverse this action and make the living entities dharmavadis. Hmm. And by that, again Mother Earth will again give all these natural necessities for the life. But in Kali Yuga, there is very less hope for such a thing to happen. Hmm. In the 12th canto, there is a great detail of description of what all can be expected in 12th canto in Kali Yuga. Hmm. The citizens will be so sinful, they will stop paying taxes, and government will harass the citizens, and citizens has to run away from the cities, go and live in the forests. Hmm. And for no food grains, they'll have to eat on fleshes of animals and later on flesh of human beings. So such times will come, is written in Bhagavatam. Hmm. So of course, now being the only first initial phase of Kali Yuga, so much not horrifying situation is there. And by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, by performance of Sankirtan Yagya, there is some hope that the living entities can easily go back home, back to Godhead. So this is all the scenario where Mother Earth is presenting. We see the time and again Mother Earth, when she was harassed, she has taken shelter of Brahma, she has taken shelter of other superior demigods. And when they were assured that you continue your activities, Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear and protect you and the citizens from sinful activities. So here Mother Earth, apparently before the appearance of Prithu Maharaj, Mother Earth has not gone. So she was still of the idea that all citizens are adharmis. So in the scriptures, other places also it is written that Mother Earth never feels the burden of so much of huge population. Not just burden, there are mountains, there are so much of big, big things that are constructed on Mother Earth. That is not burden on Mother Earth. But one sinful person, his sinful activities can become burden to Mother Earth. So just like on our body, if we have some burden, we are carrying some burden. After some time, what do we feel? We just get rid of this. So before Mother Earth tries to get rid of living entities, we should reform. We should reform our lives. We should live a religious life as per the plan of Brahma. There is enough for sense gratification. If somebody wants to do sense gratification also, you do it righteously, you'll be more happy. But sinful activities, these people who are addicted to sinful activities, dushkritina, are very, very difficult for Mother Earth to bear. This is all what I thought we can discuss in today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Just like a chaste woman is always serving the supreme her husband, similarly Mother Earth, being very chaste to Supreme Lord, is always only interested in serving the plan of the Supreme Lord. So now that Supreme Lord is again commanding her that this is my plan, give the ingredients, the Mother Earth gives the whole plan, that how all the living entities can live happily. In the future verses, when I was reading, even Mother Earth gave wine, beer, and other things for demoniac people. Hmm. So Mother Earth is very, I mean, when that section comes, we can discuss. But Mother Earth can provide all the necessities, but provided you stay according to the plan of Mother Earth. So this is what we thought we'll discuss in today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Anybody has any questions or any comments, you can please ask. Yes, Murli Prabhu.
Once one devotee asked Prabhupada, what will be the situation after 10,000 years? Then Prabhupada told that there will not be any Krishna consciousness, and if your friend is there, he will take you, come, we'll go to my house and he'll kill you and he'll cook and eat you. Like that he told Prabhuji. And now also what you are telling, in the class you told, it is they are thinking sense gratification is the goal of life. And as I'm seeing everywhere now, they are thinking sense gratification is the final goal.
Yeah.
Not what is the purpose of life means sense gratification. That is the goal of life. They are thinking.
So still in India, it is very, very, very good situation. You go to some countries, what kind of foods they eat, it's very, very heinous. Even to mention that becomes very difficult. Right?
Around about 15 to 20 years back, Praji, there is one country called Uganda. There was one dictator was. His name is Idi Amin. He used to enjoy the girls, ladies. Then he'll kill them and he'll cook and eat.
Yeah, such kind of heinous sinful people also
he used to do that.
Are there.
Later on, there was revolt in the public, and his son also continued the same. He was in London, and
and we may not go into so much details, but yeah, Kali Yuga is very horrible. Yeah.
When they checked his fridge, there was that kind of things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for more giving. Any further questions or comments? So thank you all very much. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.